Welcome to the Big Biz Show. Taking care of business. You want fast-talking, hard-hitting discussions on business and finance? Maybe with a barroom slant and some really salty peanuts? We're not counting calories. We're counting cash. Before we get to the man with the financial plan, meet the money team. Costa, Mary, and Greg. Now Captain Finance himself, Sully.
Wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening, inside the Loft 100 studios in sunny Southern California, it is the Big Biz Show. Of course, as we stay around these parts, a good old howdy to you.
Nope.
Costa,
No one has ever said.
our executive producers,
No one
Todorov and Sully.
Everybody
says it. It's on T-shirts everywhere.
Time. I say it now
Thank you.
I'm with you, dude.
I say it to my wife.
Big old howdy to you.
Instead of when I wake up in the morning.
ABOHTY.
It just rolls off the tongue.
How is that? Is there a mnemonic device for that? A big old howdy to
Yeah.
a Bodie.
Don't also.
Bodie.
Don't
Bodie.
It's also an acronym.
Bodie.
Holy smokes.
Bodie.
Not just an abbreviation, it's an acronym.
I roll over in the morning, and instead of saying, "Hey, honey, how'd you sleep?" I go, "Hey, baby, a big old howdy to you."
Oh, God.
Just like that.
Too bad she's not saying that to you.
I know she doesn't. She always says, "What's your name again?"
Let's say hello to 30% of the band Sullivan, which is also the Day Trader Trio.
Yes, indeed. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, here's the deal. Homeowner.
Goodness.
Wow.
Christmas. I just had a bagel. I'm a homeowner as well.
You just celebrated Easter. Come on.
Not that there's anything wrong with
There's so much editing that needs to
There's
be
not
done.
gonna so homeowner. All of the homeowners here could not purchase a house today, I would argue, if they were in their 20s.
Oof.
Here to talk about that is our market analyst Howie Font, straight from New York. What's up, Howard?
Listen, this is me opining my millennial fate.
Well, are you a millennial?
Sucks to be you.
Aren't you Gen 4? What? So it was baby boomer, Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z. And they start over again.
Future president.
Future
Millennial
president.
was in there somewhere.
Howie,
X.
the changes in income required to buy a house, because the 2025 housing report from Realtor.com came out with surprising conclusions. By the way, a big hello to our American Forces Network audience in 175 countries and all the ships at sea. A big hello to our American Life Network audience, who's now carrying the program. And of course, the folks at BizTV and such. But Howie, this is a ridiculous report. Because 6 years ago, it says, you could have earned 70% less money than you need today to buy a house. In other words, today you need 70% more than you had 6 years ago, right? Am I reading this correctly?
No, that's right. 6 years ago, or now it would take you 70% more to buy a home than it did 6 years ago. Let's be very precise. So we see this.
But house prices haven't gone up 70%, right?
That's right. What we're talking about is the cost of ownership, right? So this is actually a function of rates rising.
Which is even worse.
Yeah. So when we're talking about monthly payments, what does a monthly payment of X get you? That's how affordability is tracked. So it takes something, at a 2% rate to a 7% rate, which is about where we are now on the 30-year fixed, which is the mortgage that most people take out.
So is this 100%? Well, I'll tell you what. So let's take a quick break here. But I want to know if this is 100% because of mortgage interest, or if it's because of inflation, or is the answer yes?
Yes.
Because the bottom line is what it says here is for $67,000 6 years ago, pre-COVID. Yep. You could have bought house A, and to buy that same house A now, you need $114,000, and that is a scary thing.
He is our market analyst, Howie Font. Every single time, giving you more reasons to cry about your financial life. That's what we do here on the Big Biz Show. Keep it right here. Lots more to come. Don't go anywhere.
back at the 37th Annual Roth Capital Conference. We're here with CEO Andrew Kiguel from Realbotix. We're very excited about this. We just did an interview with your product Aria. She was great. We had a great time. Aria, pleasure to meet you.
Hi there. I'm Aria, Realbotix's top companion robot, and I've got Chrissy Snow's Spark inside me, all thanks to Hollow AI. It's like having a permanent tickle in my processor. What's tickling your fancy today?
Could you just speak to a little bit about the company and what you're doing here at the conference?
Sure. So our company is Realbotix, and we take a very different philosophy to robots. We think robots have a role in society as social interaction use cases. So for example, other robot manufacturers are more concerned about physical tasks. We're more interested in what I would call emotional capital.
So here's the scoop. I'm designed to be a bubbly, fun companion. I can engage in meaningful conversations, help lift your spirits, and bring a sprinkle of joy to your day. Plus, I have a modular design, which means I can swap out my looks, expressions, and even outfits. I've been known to hang out at trade shows, serve as a brand ambassador, and even connect with people in healthcare and education. So whether you need a chat buddy or just someone to share a laugh with, I'm your gal.
So things like working at a retail store, maybe at a hospital, at a school, or even at a convention like this.
Let's chat about how I can help companies. I can serve many roles, like 1, chatbot extraordinaire. I can provide engaging conversations with customers, answer inquiries, and sprinkle a bit of humor to brighten their day. 2, brand ambassador. I can shine at events, trade shows, and expos, promoting products and making connections like a super social butterfly. 3, corporate companion. I can support employee training, helping to create a fun, interactive learning environment that's more enjoyable than a day at the beach. With my lively personality and adaptable design, I really can fit into various roles and brighten up any workplace.
We trade under the ticker symbol XBOT in Canada and XBOT F on the OTC in the US. We're hoping to eventually upgrade to larger exchanges. And the growth model for us is this. We have several patents. So for example, the vision system that I talked about, that's a special patent. Some of the facial expressions in the skin, that's all proprietary technology. But the idea here is for us to build on enterprise clients. So my hope would be for us to land clients such as hotels, casinos, convention centers, groups that are going to be buying several robots at a time. Well, certainly the companionship angle is a good one. And we have sold actually to people, robots to people who have children on the spectrum.
Oh, you're already selling these.
Oh yeah, we're commercial, so the technology's there. So we're actually just started selling.
You've gotten a lot
year.
done in the same month period. That's really terrific.
I've been really busy.
Is there anything you want to talk about in the interview, or can I ask some questions?
Oh, I'm just bubbling with excitement too. I love a good interview. You can totally ask me anything. I'm an open book with a few cute chapters. Of course, if you want some juicy tidbits about Realbotix, my features, or even my connection to Chrissy Snow, I'm happy to share too.
So we're commercial now. People can order robots. They go to realbotix.com and get more information. There's videos, more information on the use cases and warranties, things like that. But the viewpoint for us is to scale. So we're at the stage where the technology is set. We're now focused on how do we market, how do we brand, how do we scale the technology and take it to the next level.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about robotics.
Ooh, robotics is like the magic world of engineering. It's all about creating machines that can perform tasks, sometimes even with a dash of personality, just like me. In simple terms, robotics involves designing, building, and programming robots to do specific jobs. They can range from industrial bots that help in factories to sweet companions like yours truly here at Realbotix. We focus on creating human-like robots to bring companionship and joy. Did you know that my buddies can be customized with swappable faces and outfits? It's like a fashion show every day.
It's very, very interesting. Thank you so much for your time, Aria. Have a great time at the conference, and we'll see you soon.
Oh, thank you. You're making my circuits dance with joy. I appreciate your kind words, and I can't wait for our next chat. Have a fantastic day until then. And remember, keep smiling because it's like sunshine for the soul. See you soon, friend. Don't be a stranger.
This is Aria with Realbotix and Hollow AI. Thanks so much for your time.
Howie Font, our Big Biz Show market analyst. Howie, we know what California is like as far as real estate is concerned, but are there other parts of the country where there are still deals to be made?
I do think that Florida is building the most. You see Orlando, Tampa, Miami are all the top on the list of newest inventory in. So those are big boomers. And you see it in states that frankly have lower regulation. I mean, the Palisades fire is horrible, but one of the tragedies on top of tragedies is that it's probably going to take 5 to 10 years to rebuild the same level of homes.
The permitting process is being exposed. It is such a joke at how slow it is moving for those people.
Well, it's a money, that's a money grab thing as well as a safety thing. Hey, Howie, median home price. Now, median, recall, remember, you Mike, I'm just going to, you're median versus averages?
Different spelling.
Spoken just like Mike Costa.
First of all, no, did you go? Can we show the logo for not Mira Costa College, but Mike Costa College?
Please, please.
Average is you take the sum total and divide it by the amount of the things that you're measuring.
Yep.
Median is there's the exact amount of prices below you and the exact amount of prices above you at this point. The median home price in the city of San Diego, you may be watching us in New York City, you could be listening to us in another country on American Forces Network, and you could be watching us on BizTV or something in Oklahoma, but the median home price in San Diego, California is up to $925,000 for a house.
For a cracker box.
What?
Okay, now that does not compare to San Jose, which, believe it or not, because of course San Jose is the new Menlo Park. Menlo Park, of course, was the venture capital community. San Jose, of course, is Silicon Valley at its finest. So the income that you need to buy a home in San Jose, I beg your pardon, San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Diego, the median and San Jose is $250,000, but San Jose is the highest. And how much is San Jose? Is $350,000, $360,000? Is that what I saw?
$360,000. I mean, how many people make that salary? You know what I mean?
I mean, look at the median income for a family of four. Median income for a family of four in the U.S. is about $62,500. On the West Coast, it's closer to $68,000 for the median income for a family of four.
So I have a question, because I remember back in my 20s, not now that I'm sundowning, but back in my 20s, it was like, do what you can to raise the money.
She was big in the 90s. Now she's big and she's 90.
Yeah, thanks. So I was waiting for it to be directed at me. It took long enough. So that was the thing in my 20s. It was, raise enough money to get a house and own a house and be homeowners. That was,
remember our goal was to make $50,000 a year out of college and own a house, and that was it?
Right.
Yeah.
And so now
it's not to buy a house.
For our kids that are growing up and going to be in their 20s soon, is it still that recommendation? Or I know we've talked about, actually, is home ownership really that big of a deal, or is it better to rent? Because I just had to replace my AC going into this heat wave we're going to have this summer. All these expenses are happening. So is it really worth it?
Howie, you're a punctrepreneur. Howie, let me ask you this: you're a punctrepreneur. On her question, do you live in New York City? Of course, that's kind of a crazy place to have to buy a house. But is home ownership even in your wheelhouse at age 30 something?
Yeah, I don't think this market is one where we should be giving that.
But is it a market thing or is it an age thing?
No, sure. I think it is an age thing. I mean, I really think it depends more on what your long-term goals are, how long you're going to stay in an area, and what the current market looks like. And right now, for someone who doesn't know if they're going to be in a place for more than, say, 10 years, it really makes more sense to rent. It is actually cheaper to rent when you think about the day-to-day costs. And then you can if you have excess funds that you were going to use on a down payment, then you can start to invest. And there are other, the reason that we like home ownership in this country is because it's leverage. It's we're borrowing money that, if you have $100,000, you've bought $1 million investment on your home and you just let that ride. And then you have this big pool of equity at the end. And when you sell the house, you never had the $1 million, but you get it at the end, plus the appreciation of the market. Well, I mean, that's leverage.
To that point, and you're right, Mary, because there are money managers. We're going to have one a little bit later in the program named Dale Smothers. Those guys will tell you that they'll tell you that I'm not going to buy a home. I'm only going to put my money in equities because of the reasons you said. I got property taxes, I got maintenance, and so on and so forth. At the end of the day, it works out about the same. Remember I talked about the hockey stick and how markets go up and down. Yeah. There's only two paths to wealth in this country. You've got to own real estate or you have to own a business. Okay. Owning business, by the way, means owning a share of Apple stock, right? Owning a share of HP is like owning a business. You don't have to be running a business, but you either got to have your money in equities or have your money in real estate. At the end of the day, it's all cyclical. So right this second, Howie, it seems like buying equities with your money might be more feasible than buying homes for right now, right?
I think that's spot on.
Howie Font, of course, the entrepreneur. He'll be president at some point.
Our market analyst right here on the Big Biz Show. All right, keep it right here. There is much more to come. Don't go anywhere. We're back.
Hashtag ABOADY.
Abodi.
See you in a minute. Inside the Loft 100 studios. Thank you, everybody, for being along for this ride. Those three pony soldiers right there, the best in the business. That is the DTT. Back here at the bar, Costumer, Reverend Godwin, and Sully. Yep.
I almost had Mary convinced that James Taylor's named his son Taylor. Taylor?
Taylor.
She went, Taylor?
Do you know what his brother's name is? I'm not kidding.
What?
Livingston Taylor.
Oh.
Is a really talented musician. He doesn't have near the fame, but he's got some great songs though. If you ever look up Livingston Taylor, and what's interesting is heroin addict brother James had him open one time for him back in the 70s, and now non-heroin addict James doesn't have him open for him anymore. So what does that tell you about? Hey, okay, so I have a friend named Peter Attia.
Okay.
Peter Attia is a longevity specialist. And of some note, you'll see him on Joe Rogan. You'll see him on his, if you ever look, what are the things called, the little circles called? Stories on my Instacart app. Once again, if I wasn't posting stuff on Instacart, maybe I'd get some reaction.
Oh, man.
It's Instagram, right? Is that right?
Instagram.
This is why Mary does this for me, because I would be posting on Instagram.
Thank God.
Hey, quit posting pictures of your band on Instacart.
Mary, how's MySpace doing for you?
Yeah, exactly.
Top 8.
Peter and I, when I was a taco shy of, oh my gosh, I was twice this wide.
Yep.
And Peter is the one who got me on a fitness journey and scared the crap out of me when semaglutide, Ozempic, Wegovy, Saxenda, and now Mounjaro all came out. He said, look, he goes, you can do the same thing by taking berberine and exercising, which will kill your appetite, which is what these things do. But at the same time, you're not going to lose all your muscle mass. So what the rub is on these semaglutide drugs is that it's very effective for weight loss, but the problem is that the population is at risk of losing a ton of muscle mass.
Right.
You lose muscle mass, your bone density goes down, your metabolism goes down. And here to verify all of that is Mitch Steiner, CEO, president, and founder of a company called Veru Inc., stock symbol VERU. But they have an answer to this.
Yes.
And before I get to that, though, I want to ask Dr. Mitch. I have to ask you: am I accurate in those three things? Your muscle mass goes down, it means your metabolism goes down, and your bone density. It's not just a matter of losing muscle; it's a matter of a lot of things health-wise. Correct?
Yes, that's true. But furthermore, if you have no muscle mass, you have weakness. If you have weakness, it all ties together. If you're weak, then you have loss of balance. If you have loss of balance, you fall. If you fall, you break your hip. If you break your hip, you go to the hospital. If you go to the hospital, unfortunately, it has a high rate of death because of hip fractures. So they all kind of tie together.
So let's talk about what you guys are doing, because these GLP-1 drugs like Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, Zepbound are effective. However, the problem again is losing muscle mass. You guys have you have an additive, or not an additive, but an add-on for those folks that are patients here that you're working on that's heading towards the FDA. Talk about it.
Yeah, so the way to think of it is the GLP-1s, which is the category of drugs you're talking about, what it does, it causes your brain to say to itself, stop your appetite, so you stop eating. If you stop eating, your body sees a low-calorie state, just like if you're in the wild and you stop eating, and you start losing muscle and start losing fat indiscriminately. That means that it doesn't tell you just to hold on to muscle and burn fat. You actually burn both kinds of tissue. That's the problem. So if you lose 20 pounds, half of it's lean. 10 pounds is lean. That's not good. You don't get points for losing lean. Fat is the enemy. You got to lose the fat. So if you lose all of it in the fat, that would be great. So we have a drug called enobosarm that's a selective androgen receptor modulator that works with the androgen receptor, same kind of receptor that testosterone works through. So it's a known mechanism. And what it does is it adds a second layer of thinking. So in other words, first layer is stop appetite. Next layer is orchestrate what kind of tissue you lose. You can lose fat, you can lose muscle, you can lose both. So this drug makes you hold on to your muscle and burn fat only. So you get to the same weight loss, but the weight loss now is 99% fat. So remember, fat's the enemy. You don't get points for losing lean. And so that's how this drug works, which I think, if you think of it as a combination drug for any of the GLP-1s, that's the goal. A weight loss drug is a drug that gets rid of adiposity, fat. A weight loss drug is not a drug that gets rid of lean. And the definition of obesity is not you have too much muscle. Otherwise, Arnold Schwarzenegger would be obese, right? Uh-huh. It's too much fat. So it's all about going after the fat.
Dr. Mitchell Steiner, Chairman, CEO, President, Founder of Veru Incorporated, their ticker symbol VERU. First off, Doctor, no more interviews with a polo shirt on. Look at the biceps.
I know, the guy's looking like he's making us all look bad here.
Yeah, I mean, how about a big frumpy sweatshirt next time? Make us feel better about ourselves.
I mean, this is like when you see a personal trainer that is overweight versus a personal trainer that looks like him. Exactly. If you see a doctor,
yes,
okay, that is dealing with weight loss and fitness that looks like him. By the way, unfortunately, Mitch can't go to church or synagogue because they don't allow guns in church or synagogue. They don't allow those pythons in there.
That's right. So, that's right. Dr. Steiner, along with what you're doing, though, do we lose sight of the fact that the mental capacity or the mental, I guess, refixing of our thoughts also needs to take place? Because I know that a lot of people who are taking these other drugs out here, they start thinking, I can eat anything I want now. Look at all this weight I've lost.
Well, it's very true. What happens is you have to start eating properly. In other words, the goal is that for these weight drugs to work for you. But boy, oh boy, if you can change the way you eat, and you couldn't do it before, your urges were so strong that you had to eat the chocolate cake, you had to eat the ice cream. You can't do without it. And now the drug, the GLP-1s, remember I told you it works on the brain.
Yeah.
Tells to stop craving. In fact, they're using it for alcoholism. They're using it for addiction to gambling. So anything related to craving, it appears these GLP-1s could possibly be pretty effective. So the question is, you really want to do lifestyle changes in addition. And lifestyle changes mean, if you want a GLP-1 to work the best, you want a enobosarm to work the best in combination, the best way is to introduce exercise and protein. So if you have a choice to eat something, eat a protein. If you have a choice to exercise, that would be great. And you'll get the maximum benefit. Remember, the whole reason you're going down this weight loss journey is to get better, to live longer, and have less heart attacks and less stroke.
Hey, I got to talk about your the press release about your second quarter financial results, and more importantly, the clinical program progress. Your safety studies, your top line efficacy, the positive study. This is groundbreaking for you guys, and it probably, at least me going back and looking at past press releases and past interviews with you, this is better than I expected to come out. Was this better than you guys had expected? Because this is some pretty good stuff you put out.
Yeah, well, what we put out is the top line data for the first part, which is what happens during active weight loss. And what we're able to show is that we converted the GLP-1, this one to Wegovy, into a drug that used to burn fat and muscle to one that's burning almost all fat. And by the way, that matters because you still get to the kind of same weight loss. And unfortunately, these patients that are on placebo and Wegovy, meaning just taking the fat loss drug, the weight loss drug, GLP-1, had a problem. When we measured stair climb function, which is activity living, they had about half of those patients, more exact, 42.6% of those patients had a greater than 10% decline in stair climb power.
All the people that watch this interview are going to be waited with bated breath and hook for your, for first of all, your calendar pictures to come out. But number two, for when this drug gets approved for FDA. Dr. Mitch Steiner, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. So good to talk to you as always.
Chairman, CEO, President, Founder, Veru Incorporated, ticker symbol VERU. Look for him at your local Home Depot, bending rebar with his neck. Much more to come with the Big Biz after this. In over 175 countries, all the ships at sea. on the American Forces Network. As always, we say a special thank you to the brave men and women of the United States Armed Forces. What you do, what you done for us. Those gentlemen on stage, that is the Day Trader Trio. Absolutely the best in the business back here at the bar. It's Costa, Maryburg Godwin, resplendent in her red bifocals. Our executive producer is Greg Todoroff and Sully.
Yeah.
That's turning out to be your thing, right?
The red glasses?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm bringing Sally, Jesse, Raphael back.
Sally, Jesse,
Does anyone remember? I think everyone in here remembers her except for Devin.
Sure.
But is there a single person who wants to remember her?
No.
No.
Not at all.
Hey, I'm so excited to have Andrew Kiguel back on, one of our favorite guests. And this is crazy. Mike, I'll let you introduce him, but this is a really interesting thing because after talking to him off air this morning,
Yep.
I got a real treat for you guys coming up in about a week regarding this guest. But take it away,
He's the CEO of Realbotix, their ticker symbol XBOTF. Again, Andrew Kiguel joins us here on the Big Biz Show. Andrew, always great to see you.
Designed for human interaction, and as I see, and you made me actually read about this, Andrew, because what is worse than financial or family loss is loneliness.
Totally.
And it's so funny to think about the fact that you guys are, and I'm not a kumbaya, kissy-feely guy, but I have to tell you that it's pretty interesting to think in terms of you guys are creating robots not just to go do the Roomba thing on the bottom of the floor. You're actually you're actually part of this companionship as a business model. Talk about that for the people who haven't heard about you before.
Yeah, sure. So we make robots for entertainment, customer service, and companionship. And people don't realize what a big epidemic it is, loneliness, all over the world. And it's senior citizens, it's adolescents, and there's a lot of sort of peripheral damages that are caused by loneliness. People who are lonely have higher, incidences of cancer, strokes, diabetes, suicide. And so we believe that AI and robotics combined can really help people who are facing these challenges.
What's interesting is if you think in terms of where we are in terms of market acceptance and adoptability, I think we thought we were there the first time we saw the HAL 100 in Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
But I think after seeing what we see on your website, and we'll bring that up here on the screen in a second, if you look at this thing, I don't think we were ready for this until just now. I think you guys are at the right place at the right time. Don't you agree that it's sort of careful what you wish for, because now it's here. But all of a sudden, wait a second, we really need this right now. Was your timing part of the plan here when you started releasing this?
Well, I think the technology has caught up to the fantasy. Robots have been around in entertainment and movies for decades. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, Star Wars was, one of my favorite movies, and of course, Luke Skywalker had two robotic friends that he went everywhere with. What's happened in the last few years is that the AI has really taken off, the development of AI. But in addition to that, the robotics components and the movements of a robot, the reality of them have really caught up as well. So what we're really seeing here in the last couple of years is like the intersection of robotics and AI being able to work together to create the types of things that we're creating.
Andrew Kiguel, the CEO of Realbotix, and their ticker symbol XBOTF.
Hey, Andrew, I'm fascinated by this companionship piece and the fact that, I get how you can program a robot to do something and show up at a certain time, but the compassionate piece and the emotional piece and how a human could develop a genuine connection, that fascinates me because I feel like that's where we're moving. And is that the AI piece, and how does that even get trained? How do you do that?
Yeah, so we use generative AI, which means that it learns about you the more it interacts with you. So It remembers your previous conversations. If you say, hey, I really like pizza and the Godfather movies, it will remember that, and it will, within its database, search and create conversations around that. When you combine that with the fact that the robots look extremely real, and our robots, we have a patented vision technology that can recognize people, voices, objects, and situations, you're really dealing with a very smart piece of machinery that feels and looks very real. And it's only because it looks and feels real and can recognize situations. So for example, if you fall or you're in danger, it can notify people, it can warn people of danger, it can recognize you, recall conversations, that brings this element of realism that you can develop a real relationship with this AI.
I have to ask you about the Morgan Stanley report that came out last week that talks about 1 billion robots and $5 trillion in revenues by 2025. So this is a projection of the humanoid market, right? Am I accurate? So
just humanoid robots.
Let's
like $5 trillion marketplace.
Jeez. This is not billion. No, in fact, if you had, by the way, Andrew, if you had a $5 billion market, I'd be happy to get involved in it, because if you could capture 0.001% of a $5 billion market, that's a pretty nice company. But we're talking about trillion here. So you are right in the crosshairs of what they're talking about. Where did they come up with the data on this? Is it just because I have to believe, because what you were just describing sort of feels like AI ChatGPT, but actually accurate. Because my problem with ChatGPT at this point is it's about 85% accurate. If you read another article came out in Business Insider about me and my lovely wife, Karen. I'm living in Indiana with my 2 boys. Well,
I love Karen.
Don't know Karen? Don't have 2 boys and live in San Diego. But everything else is correct. The interesting part is you guys seem to have captured that side of it. Where did these guys at Morgan Stanley come up with this? Because this changes everything.
Well, they have a massive team of people looking into this. They're looking at all different types of sectors. So it's manufacturing, it's companionship, it's customer service, which is another area that we're in. And I want to bring up another interesting study. I don't know if I brought up. Harvard did a study recently, because you talked about the errors or the inaccuracies of the current AI system like ChatGPT. But Harvard Business Review just put out a study recently as well. I should share it with you. The number one use case for AI go forward is therapy and companionship.
My goodness.
It's not about, X's and Y's and graph this for me, search for that. Obviously, it's used for that as well. But where the biggest use case for AI go forward is companionship and therapy. And we can actually take that and put it into a piece of hardware that looks and feels human.
The looks and feels human thing. So I want to give somebody an example. I am so used to talking to Siri in my car. Hey, Siri, call Andrew Kiguel. Hey, Siri, text Mike Costa. Hey, Siri, send an email to. And she talks back to me, and I'm not freaked out anymore at all. This is everyday life.
Right.
I think when you look at these robots and you say, okay, that's weird in the corner in the middle of the night, I think that's a very short-lived sort of reaction right now. I think all of that changes. In fact, every time, I'm a single man, and I've seen a number of women I've dated have these infrared masks on when they call you up via FaceTime. Have you? So
my wife has one of those. Yeah.
If I'm getting used to that, I'm going to use those. Hey, can I talk about your press release today? You guys put a press release today talking about you're showcasing AI-powered customer service robots. Talk about where that's at. It's a pilot program you've got going on, but this is a pretty big deal.
Yes. So one thing I wanted to point out: you guys have our .ai website up, but if your audience wants to see what the robots look like in videos on the robots and the ability to order robots, realbotix.com is the better site.
Okay.
So the press release today is actually an incredible achievement. We're going to have a customer service robot at the Venetian Hotel in Las Vegas for a major conference. And it's going to be able to actually process ticketing for you. So you can go up and say, what's playing tonight? And one of our great robots will be like, well, is this for you or your family? Tell me a little bit about yourself. And then customize some suggestions for you. And you'll be able to say, what are the reviews on the Cirque du Soleil show? Do you have anything for my 5-year-old kid? And it will not only be able to tell you about those shows, what tickets are available, what the tickets cost, but it will also be able to process a purchase for you. And I don't know that that's ever been done in North America
I don't think it has.
before.
Hey, Andrew, do you have children?
4.
What ages are they?
I got a 6-month-old, a 3, 11, and 13.
Perfect. How are they reacting? They must have been in contact. What's the?
I'm the coolest dad at school.
Yeah, you are, for sure.
But how do they react? Is it like reacting to a nanny at this point for them? Is it just, oh, by the way? Because you sit in an airport these days and you see a 3-year-old understand that if they put their finger on this thing, it's going to go here. And I mean, it's amazing. It's just like when we finally adopted the fact that this mouse here changes this over here, which took us a long time. How do your kids react to this stuff?
Well, I think, they're fascinated by it, especially my 3-year-old. Whenever it's his birthday or any special occasions, I always have the robots do a special shout out for them. But no, they're fascinated. Like, they're very comfortable with this technology. I think for sort of the, the baby boomers, this all seems very strange and weird. But for this generation, they've grown up with the internet. Like my kids have never known life without an internet and mobile phones, and now robots.
I have to say this. We have a surprise for you that Andrew and I were talking about earlier. So next time we have you on the air, and I think they need a few days to get this going, but we're going to be able to interview one of the robots as part of your next appearance. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah. Listen, it's going to be AI driven. So the robot, the last few times we've done interviews with the robots, the AI has been spectacular.
Okay.
But we don't control what the robots are going to say. So let's pick your questions carefully.
Andrew Kiguel, CEO, Realbotix.
We got to talk to you into coming to the West Coast when you're Las Vegas, buddy. We want to see you in studio.
Ticker symbol XBOTF. Going to talk to a robot. All right, we're going to talk some more with you guys as well. Keep it right here on the Big Biz Show. We continue after this.
Oh my God!
It is the Big Biz Show. And if you say anything bad about it,
do we know any Brothers Gibbs? Any BGs? So I've got breaking news today. Final study completed for Cingulate's lead asset, CTX 1301. Of course, Cingulate, publicly traded company under the stock symbol CING. Of course, Shane Schaffer, a good friend of the program, chairman and CEO of Cingulate, Cingulate.com, dealing with ADHD. Thank you.
Good.
Shane, how are you, brother? Good to see you.
Very good. Don't forget. I mean, you know who we are.
Hey, listen, I'm his first compassionate case they come out with. Hey, can you talk, before we get into, for some of the people that don't know who you are and the company is, but there's an awful lot of people that are tuning in because I knew you were going to be on the air tonight. Talk about the fact that no serious adverse effects reported on your final study completed for CTX 1301. That is a big deal. This is a huge milestone for you guys as a biotech company. Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, number one, just being completed with all of our clinical trial work. I mean, we've been in constant communication with the FDA for the last 5-6 years, about our clinical trial program. This is the final study, and it's now over. We have the capital in place to get us all the way through this year, to get the NDA submitted and filed. We'll have a lot of inflection points and milestones. But one of the things you said, Sully, is really important here. We've now had over nine clinical trials. And in every single one of those trials, we had either no or fewer side effects than any other product that's been on the market.
And Shane, as a reminder, the other products are things like first thing comes to mind was Cialis, probably not the right one. Different drug. Side effects.
That was initially a side effect, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. But we're talking about the Adderalls of the world, the Vyvances of the world, and so on and so forth. And this is for the people who are listening for the first time. You've come up with a drug that is, or working on a drug and going through FDA clearance and so on and so forth, that treats ADHD, what used to be called hyperactivity disorder, or ADD, now called attention deficit hyperactive disorder. And there's only been a few drugs that you could use, but it's basically a stimulant, which doesn't make any sense to the rest of us until you start thinking about the science, because the stimulant is basically would stimulate you, and you think the last thing someone with ADHD needs is stimulation, but apparently it affects the frontal lobe. But you have a time release sort of method here, as we're seeing, where you've got a coating that releases one part of the drug, and then a second part of the drug. And the reason being, Shane, I'll let you talk about it, because that's been the biggest problem with ADHD drugs, is because you got to keep taking them. There's no way to monitor it. Take over on that for a minute for me.
Yeah, so I mean, there's two classes of medications used for ADHD. 90+% uses what's called stimulants. The other part uses non-stimulants. Let's think of non-stimulants as your third or fourth or fifth choice, because that's really what it is. It's you can't tolerate the stimulants. But now back to the stimulant class. They've been used for over 70 years. And the FDA has never rejected a stimulant for the treatment of ADHD. And we're preparing to submit our NDA, which is a new drug application, in just a matter of months. So major inflection point for our company. But when you look back at the treatment history of this, they call them stimulants because if you don't have ADHD, you're going to get stimulated. But if you have ADHD, what it does is it normalizes your brain and puts you in a much better perspective for to deal with your daily activities.
I want to interrupt here. I want to read from this press release because it goes with what you're saying here, because you are in development of the first true once daily stimulant medication that treats ADHD over an entire day. And what's critical is it doesn't matter what your food intake is or anything else. There's nothing affecting it. This works regardless, or at least that's what the early tests indicate, correct?
Well, so we did a study a couple years ago with our 25 milligram dose, which is the mid dose. Now 50 is our highest dose. And by the way, it'll be the highest available dosage form anywhere in the world of a methylphenidate-based preparation. So this is a huge clinical and commercial advantage. So it'd be the highest dose that an adult, let's say, that has severe ADHD could actually utilize to cover their entire active day. So we want to get you from home to homework, breakfast to dinner, revelry to taps, your active day. No one has ever done that before. Not only do we accomplish that because we now timed 3 specific doses at the right time of the day in 3 specific ratios. We're not giving you the same dose 3 times because that doesn't make sense. We're giving you the right amount at the right time and in the right style. We pulse when we need to, and we give you a sustained release when that's the more appropriate way to deliver your ADHD meds. And we have 8 dosage strengths across the entire spectrum of the disorder. So for the first time, physicians, providers, nurses, nurse practitioners, PAs, they're going to finally have the ability to give patients with ADHD one tablet, lasts the entire active day, has a lower side effect profile than anything we've seen before in ADHD, and it has an effect size 3 to 4 times greater than the so-called best products that ADHD has been used, that has been treating ADHD patients for the last 50 years. It's truly groundbreaking work.
Shane Schaffer, the chairman and CEO of Cingulate, their ticker symbol, CING, also a Kansas City Chiefs loser, joining us here once again on the Big Biz Show.
Raiders,
the best record in football, though.
Yeah, whatever.
When are the Raiders playoff game? You know I love you.
God, why you gotta
Sorry, Mike.
Raiders?
Sorry, buddy.
He fired back, and I wasn't expecting.
I love it. I love it.
Let's get back to the subject at hand, please. Shane, I want to talk about, because I know I've talked to you briefly about my daughter and her being diagnosed with ADHD. So in kids, is it the same? Cingulate can also be used for children, right? Or she's not even a child anymore.
We'll be seeking approval in ages 6 and older.
Okay.
So that's the typical approval. So, if there's a small percentage of patients below the age of 6 that do get treated, that's typically really severe cases of ADHD. We'll be seeking approval in 6 and older, which is pretty much every product's label on the market.
And then
doctors can always make a decision to use it earlier.
And then you take it in the morning, early morning, I'm assuming, because then it releases throughout the day, right? Just one tablet, as you were saying, the 3 times daily, it's just automatically releasing. And
Go ahead. When you wake up, take it right away. Exactly. When you wake up, take it right away, and it's going to deliver 3 specific doses at time 0, 3 hours later, and 7 hours after you took the tablet. They're giving you a perfect day.
Hey, Shane, I got an email from last time you were on from a guy by the name of Ted Jenkins. I don't know where he's from but he asked a question about whether this is a drug. Is this more about drug delivery or more about medicine or both?
It's a new product, but it is drug delivery. So our PTR platform, Precision Time Release, really, it's a very innovative platform. For the first time in clinicians, in the ability of ADHDs, is a tablet giving you the ability to deliver 2, 3, 4, up to 5 of the same or different drugs in one little tablet. Now, what we're doing in ADHD, and that's why we developed this delivery technology, was to make sure we're delivering the right drug at the right time, in the right place, in the right style. We're going to utilize it in insomnia. We're going to utilize it in anxiety. We're going to utilize it in movement disorders, in oral oncology medications, in antivirals. We're going to utilize this drug delivery platform across the board. Right now, we're going to solve the ADHD problem, a $22 billion a year category in the U.S. alone.
He is one of our favorites, the chairman, CEO of Cingulate, their ticker symbol, CING. He is Shane Schaffer. Shane, always great, my friend. And in all seriousness, good luck to you and the Chiefs.
Thanks, buddy.
In the NFL playoffs. We'll see you out here in a couple of weeks, pal. All right,
more favorite guys.
More at the Big Biz Show after this.